and welcome to the Firefly Adda, your virtual conversation starter, a platform where we showcase different thought leaders and bring out insights and learnings. Today, we bring out a very inspirational story. Based on the ethos of inspire and be inspired, we want to call out a very inspirational individual who we call our lockdown hero, who has selflessly worked day in and day out to cater to the urban migrant population during the pandemic by providing them essentials and food. Please join me in welcoming a very inspirational and empathetic individual, our lockdown hero, Shreyas Reddy. Shreyas, hi and welcome to the Firefly Adda.
Namaste, Kush, and thank you so much for having me and the Fire Fire.
I would like to begin by giving you a quick salute for being a part of this whole campaign. I've been following your stories on
Thank you so much, Kush.
Instagram very, very closely. And we have really been inspired by the way you have actually led the movement right from day one, when the pandemic lockdown situation took place. I think it was something during the end of March. We've actually been
Yeah.
seeing you running this initiative. So what is this initiative all about? Can you actually throw some light, and is there any name given to the group of people who are actually involved? Can you actually shed some light on that?
So basically, me and three of my friends who were on the 18th of last month, we got a call saying that our in the rural belt of Vartur and Hoskote, there's a large produce of tomatoes which are going to be rotten. So we thought that we could take up that produce and make sure that the small farmers will be helped by selling out their produce in the urban markets. So we set out on this journey, and then we came across we moved our influence to make sure that the small migrant laborers around my neighborhood would be fed. We started packing some small packets, maybe 30 to 15 a day, and we gradually rose somewhere up to close to 3,000 to 4,000 a day, like today itself.
Wow, that's amazing. Anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah. So during this journey, where we started to help farmers, then the migrant laborers, and then we started focusing on getting the data of pregnant women in the locality, maybe the TB patients in the migrant laborers, and we started to cater each one of them differently. For example, the kids were given with the ragi malt, which will be really helpful for the growth, and even the pregnant mothers are the same.
Wow, fantastic. So you actually looked at that level of scrutinizing these migrant laborers. I mean, we keep looking at these news flashes, and the urban migrant labor population are the ones who are actually the most affected by this pandemic, because they have no clue or idea of where to go, because they don't have a shelter, they don't have a proper guidance maybe from the government, even though they're actually trying to provide some sort of a guidance now. I think you actually got the pulse earlier, and you actually were the first movers in terms of understanding and being empathetic towards that class of people. So this is really very inspirational. I don't think many people would have actually thought about the way you guys have actually thought about. So you mentioned about the initiative. So are there any group of people along with you who are actually a part of this?
So to start off with, we had three people who just started off this journey by helping the farmers, and then we came across Adamya Chetana and our Akshay Patra delivering, making sure the kits were ready. So we tried to volunteer with them to make sure we packed the essential kits along with Adamya Chetana and Akshay Patra. And then we came across a government initiative where led by Captain Manivanan, who said that anyone who is ready to volunteer, please come out and we can help the police and the migrant laborers in distributing of food, maintaining the social distancing, as well as keep giving the people the right awareness in marketplaces.
Fantastic. I mean, for youngsters like you to think in these lines, that in itself is true leadership material, is what we actually see here. Thank you, and kudos for the kind of work you're actually doing. So so where did you exactly get this inspiration or this spark in your belly, from to get this initiative going? So can you maybe help us understand that?
So as a kid, I have grown around the stories of Swami, and those stories led me for a platform like Vidyarthi Parishad, who groomed me to be such a person and to be like leaning towards the social service part. So I would thank Vidyarthi Parishad and the mentors there for for teaching me the right steps, how it has to be done, and yes, I'm just following them.
So there was a little bit of an internet glitch when you actually started answering this question. So you meant to say that Vidyarthi Parishad has been the inspirational organization behind these principles that you've actually sort of imbibed, and you're trying to execute those
Yes,
principles?
yes.
Fantastic, fantastic, Shreyas. So this is actually some great stuff. 45 days is what I'm actually hearing since you've actually been, putting this effort, which is really commendable and really massive, considering the situation that all of us are in. So where did you exactly get this necessary help from in terms of, coordinating things, getting the logistics in place? Is there any push from the government agencies or authorities? Are those people also sort of behind you? So how are you able to manage the logistics effectively and get the coordination efforts going seamlessly? Can you put some light on that?
Yeah, so the government department, the labor ministry especially, has been a great push for us, for the volunteers. For example, let me talk about the Whitefield DCP zone. So the Bangalore was divided into 7 DCP zones, and each DCP zone had its own head, where like somewhere around close to 450 volunteers were added in that DCP zones. The first thing what we could do is get few chowdhuries which were on free, which we had to work from, and we divided the whole volunteers into different zonal groups. For example, Madhevpura, Marathali was a group, Vartur was a group. From that respective chowdhury, our volunteers in a team of 10 people, maybe 10 cars, used to come, pick up 500 lunches or a meal, and go distribute it to the given locations. Those locations were identified by the police, by the Corona warriors, as well as from the help from the public too.
Fantastic, Shreyas. So how many such food deliveries have you made? So do you have a rough estimate in your mind?
So yeah, with the help of government, we used to get somewhere around 12,000 food packets a meal. And along with that, our corporates have made a big effort. Like for example, Prestige has given us somewhere around 5,000 food packets a meal. Divyashree has given us somewhere up close to 3,500. And various organizations have come up to us, they have reached out to us telling that we are ready to provide the food. Can you distribute it for us? So we have somewhere close to 17,000 food packets a meal. And if you count in a day, it will be somewhere close to 35 to 36,000.
Wow, that's considerable. Looking at the data point that you've given me, that actually makes me believe you have actually spread this whole inspirational objective to a lot of empty stomachs and to a lot of these urban migrant populace who have actually sort of been clueless. So this is a great initiative, Shreyas. Hats off to you guys. For keeping the this population in mind and getting things in place for them. Now, any sort of memories or any sort of live initiatives or some engagements that you actually do with this population? So, any sort of memories that you've actually sort of pulled out from any such live engagement with anybody? If you could maybe share some of the stories, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, so this is one of the like stories which moved my heart a lot. Maybe last month, in the mid of last month, we were distributing food packets in Sakra, behind Sakra Hospital in Outer Ring Road, and we fell short of somewhere close to 400 to 500 food packets. And the people would not let us go, even though we tell them like we don't have it, like just forgive us, let us come tomorrow. They were starving for 3 days, and we just tried to tell them, and then they wouldn't listen. And suddenly, two elder men come up to me and they just fall on my feet, telling, "Sir, please just give us the lunch or give me just a food packet. We'll just survive for 2 more days at least." So that made me move. And I was like, please get up. They wouldn't get up. And everyone was just like holding onto the feet of the volunteers, telling us, just give us one packet and it's enough for us per day. So what we did at that moment, we didn't have food packets. It was somewhere around 8:30, 9. So we went to a local supermarket and we sourced somewhere up to 600 biscuit packets, and we made sure each one of them were given 2 to 3 biscuit packets. And then they didn't let us go. And then they were like, the people who are inside called us, and they were like, sir, aapke liye bhi hai, aa jao, hum khate hai. Like, everyone, let's sit together and eat. And that memory will never leave me. And till today, if you check my car, I'll be having somewhere close to 600 to 700 biscuit packets, just to make sure, because the hungry only calls is somewhere around 12 o'clock. I get calls at 12, 1 telling, sir, I have not received the lunch. Can you please help me? So, with such people are the real people who are really hungry, who give us a call at such times. So, I make sure to get out of my bed and give them the biscuit packets and get back home, because the gratitude they have in their eyes is really priceless, Kush.
I mean, that almost sort of melted me, the whole, story that you actually sort of called out. So hats off to you for, sticking your neck out and, being there for such people and, providing them the meals as and when, from whatever ways and means. This is really awesome, and hats off to you for, doing this. My heartfelt gratitude and appreciation. I'm pretty sure our audiences also, feel that way. So thank you so much for that, Shreyas.
Yeah.
Keep the good work going. Um, Another question for you, at the end of the day, you do all this. So what do you actually, get out of this? So what kind of satisfaction do you actually sort of get out of this? So is there ways and means of expressing it, or is it so priceless that, it cannot be put in words?
I wish someone could have candid recorded the scene which happened in the Sakra, behind Sakra Hospital. So even today, when we have few funders and I request them, they don't come out on the field. So whenever they just give money, they give 500 and be like, oh, please provide them food. So I just want them to come and see the experience, see to themselves that what it really means for people if we reach out for them. So in case if I had that candid video of them
Mhm.
and us sitting down together and eating a biscuit, or even taking a spoon from the plate, it is priceless, Kush. Like, there's no words which can explain that.
Now, I'm sure that you'll have a lot of blessings of a lot of people. But a very critical question, Shreyas, here is that you yourself are actually putting yourself, at a lot of risk, and you're actually putting your own life, at risk and in the line. So that is why you're a hero for us. So what do you think about that? Yeah, can you tell us more about it?
So when we started this, and when I knew that I'm gonna be with people for the rest of my whatever till the corona continues, so what we made sure was we got the safety kits, we got the gloves, we got the necessary like hand sanitizers, and we made sure every volunteer who goes out for field work is given a gloves, is given a hand sanitizer, and he should sanitize himself every 2 minutes, even though he's distributing food. And even after that, we made sure their temperature checks are done every day, and every time he comes to us, we make sure the temperature checks are done. It'll be really worse that when one of the volunteer gets it, there's no way of going out. We'll have a huge drop in volunteers. That I would never want to see that day.
No, fantastic. You're actually taking the right set of precautions and, ensuring that all the volunteers are safe and sound. And a very valid point that even if one volunteer actually gets affected, that actually hits the morale of the other people who would be interested in volunteering. So brings me to a question. So till how long are we going to see this campaign going? So any thoughts around that?
So right now, what I have personally done is I have approached somewhere close to 14 to 15 NGOs who are giving food, and I'm trying to make a framework which we can work around with them, because I'm requesting a NGO to work for certain amount of days till their funds get exhausted, and the next NGO and the next NGO. So till the curve flattens, we are just keeping our hopes up, and we are doing our best, Kush. I just want to I just want this COVID to end really fast, because every day our volunteers get really tired, and
Mhm.
it's a tough work out there.
No, absolutely it is. I mean, if all of us can, summon that strength and give it to you guys, we would love to do that, because you guys are actually the real heroes, and you're pushing yourselves into the risky zone, and taking care of people who have nowhere to go. So again, our gratitude towards you guys for putting everything in place and all the energies in order to take care of them. So what are your future plans and goals when it actually comes to this? So any thoughts around that? So So if anybody wants to sort of join you guys and help you volunteer, so are there any directions that you can actually provide to such people or such enthusiasts?
So working through this pandemic made me realize hungry is the worst thing I could ever possibly see. So in regarding this, me and my friends have studied a few models of community fridges around the globe in the European countries as well as in Pune. So we are planning to at least launch two of them in the Maratali area. Like, it will be funded by us, it will be maintained by us for a period of 5 years is what we're planning. The whole point about community fridges, it will have a fridge where people can take up responsibility and give leave the cooked food if they want in that fridge, or vegetables or fruits, whatever it is, and the person who is hungry will be informed about it, and he can come there and he can make sure he's not hungry anymore. So this is what we are planning for the next 5 years. And volunteers who are willing to help us can surely come up to us. We need a lot more brains working with us. We need a lot more hands at this point of time because, for example, in the recent days, a corona case was found in our white field zone. So our volunteers who are like literally 40 dropped to 4 in a day. So anyone who is ready to volunteer can come up, can discuss ideas. We're gonna make sure a think tank is formed, and the hunger problem will be resolved, as well as there'll be a new situation. There'll be no like you can say that hunger is what we are focusing on. Like, eradication of hunger is what we are focusing on as of now.
Sure. So I think there was a couple of glitches during your answer actually. So just to sort of
Yeah.
rephrase what you actually mentioned, you mentioned about a couple of them coming together and building community sort of refrigeration systems where you can actually sort of preserve food and provide the needy and hungry. So you actually want maybe volunteers to sort of join you and give you more innovative approaches and ideas of how to set this up. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, Kush.
Yep.
Exactly.
And from the existing sort of movement that you're actually driving in terms of feeding the homeless people, so is there any way that people who may be interested can approach you?
Yes, they can surely approach us. That's the one we are looking at. We are actually approaching a lot of NGOs right now.
Hmm.
If people are approaching us, I'll surely they can mail me, and I'll tell them which part of Bangalore is really facing a vacuum
Hmm.
in the matter of food packets, and they can surely get the food packets there, and we can handle the distribution. We
so
have a
can you
very good logistic network.
so can you just call out your mail address so that people know which email? We'll obviously mention that in the description as well, so if you just want to call that out, that will
Yeah.
be great.
My email ID is shreyasmreddy@gmail. Uh, so I'll just put it in the description of the video.
Fantastic, Shreyas. So, great stuff that you guys are actually doing. I would love you guys to, keep continue, doing what you're doing. Again, this is a lockdown situation. Many of us are actually psychologically very dented. A lot of
True.
anxiety, a lot of, stress that each one of us are actually facing at home. So, any sort of parting shots, any inspirational quotes, or any success mantra that you would want to provide to the audience, which can sort of pep them up?
So the audience have to understand one thing, that staying at home uh, will surely make this pandemic end sooner than they coming out for a breather or something, like coming out for a joyride or something. The situation is really worse out there, and we are lucky to be under a roof. And there's so many people who just have to stay, like 30 to 40 people who just have to stay in a room. They don't have an option. So we could just stay at our homes, help as much as we can. Like, let's form a strong community which really cares for people, and not just for now, not just for now, for the coming days too. Like, let's plan for like 5 to 10 years, and let's make sure that nobody sleeps hungry. And I would want to say that really changes us when we think of a moment like we have to do it, and there's no going back once we come a step front.
Fantastic, Shreyas. Nobody has to go hungry, sleep hungry. That's such a profound statement that you've made. And, hats off to you once again for this inspirational, call out and a story that you're actually, sort of deriving from the field. that you're actually working on in terms of taking care of the needy and the urban migrant populace. Thank you so much, Shreyas. In the true sense, you are actually our lockdown hero, and we again salute you wholeheartedly. Thank you so much,
Uh,
and keep continuing this
Thank
good
you so
work.
much, Kush. Yeah, thank you so much, Kush. And I hope our conversations will change people's minds at least like 0.001%. But we should believe it's a change, it's a positive change. And let's hope to end all this very sooner. And let's
Absolutely.
get back.
So yeah, so that's the
Yeah,
idea of this platform, and like we said, we believe in the ethos of inspiring and be inspired. So that's the ethos that we believe in. So thank you so much for this inspirational journey of yours, and I wish you all the best to keep continuing the good work that you're doing. And I'm sure a lot of people will actually come forward and join hands with you to make it a whole holistic effort in terms of taking care of the existing challenging situations that we have. Thanks once again.
thank you, Kush.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kush.